This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast, daily intelligence for serious e-commerce portfolio builders across Amazon, TikTok Shop, Shopify, Walmart, and every channel that moves the needle. Neil Twa and his Voltage team all day, every day since 2012. Let's get into it.
Your shipping bill just went up. Again, if you are selling on Amazon right now and using USPS to fulfill orders, you may have already noticed it. The numbers do not lie. A cost that used to be predictable, something you built your pricing around, something you factored into every single SKU, just shifted underneath you. This is not a small thing. For a seller doing $10,000 to $20,000 a month, shipping is often the second or third largest line item after cost of goods. If you are moving 100 units a week at an average shipping cost of $3 to $4 per package, a meaningful rate increase does not stay small for long. Run the math on even a modest jump, and you are looking at hundreds of dollars a month in new overhead. Overhead that was not in your original margin model. For a seller doing $50,000 to $100,000 a month, that same rate increase scales into thousands of dollars of additional cost every single month. Not because your volume grew, not because your product got more expensive, just because USPS changed what they charge. And for the larger operators moving serious volume, the dollar impact is immediate and significant enough to force a logistics review on the spot. Here is what makes this particularly sharp. Most sellers price their products based on the cost structure they built their business on. When a core input cost jumps without warning, your margins do not just compress. They can flip from healthy to painful before you even realize what happened. USPS rate changes are not new, but the pattern of sudden, unexpected increases hitting sellers mid-season, mid-campaign, or mid-reorder cycle, that is the real problem. So the question every seller needs to answer right now is this. Is your shipping cost a fixed assumption in your model, or is it a variable you are actively managing? Shipping is a cost that most sellers set once and forget. That is the mistake. When you built your product listing, you calculated your landed cost, your Amazon fees, your ad spend, and your shipping. You arrived at a margin you were comfortable with, maybe 12%, maybe 22%. You launched, you started selling, and somewhere in the back of your head, that shipping number became a constant. USPS rate changes break that assumption hard. Here is the mechanics of why this matters at every level. If you are a seller doing $5,000 to $15,000 a month and you are shipping with USPS, whether through Amazon's buy shipping, through a third-party fulfillment partner, or directly, your cost per unit just became less predictable. Even a 25-cent increase per package on 200 shipments a month is $50. That sounds small, but on a product with a 5% margin, $50 of new monthly cost can erase the profitability of an entire SKU. Scale that to a seller doing $50,000 a month with higher volume, and the same 25-cent increase becomes $500, $600, $700 a month, depending on package weight and zone. That is real money leaving your business every single month going forward. The mechanism is straightforward. USPS sets rates. Amazon's buy shipping passes those rates through. Third-party logistics providers adjust their carrier rate cards. Your shipping cost per order goes up. Your margin per unit goes down. If you are not watching it in real time, you do not catch it until you are already bleeding. The sellers who manage this well treat shipping as a dynamic input, not a fixed one. They review their cost per shipment regularly. They know which of their SKUs are most sensitive to carrier rate changes. They have already thought through what a backup carrier option looks like. The sellers who get hurt are the ones who assume the number they plugged in 6 months ago is still accurate today. Let me give you two sellers. Same platform, same problem. Very different outcomes. First seller, a small operator in the home goods category doing around $18,000 a month in revenue. Selling a product that ships in a lightweight box, about 12 ounces. For months, her shipping cost per unit through USPS was running right around $3.40. Her margin model was built on that number. She was running at roughly 16% net margin, which for her stage of business was solid. Then, USPS rates adjusted. Her cost per shipment moved to $3.80, 40 cents per unit. She ships roughly 400 units a month. That is $160 a month in new costs she did not plan for. Her margin dropped from 16% to just under 15%. Not catastrophic, but she caught it because she does a monthly cost audit. She caught it in week 1 of the new rate period, adjusted her price by 50 cents, and held her margin. That is the move. Second seller, a mid-level operator in the pet supplies category, doing around $75,000 a month. Higher volume, heavier packages, more zone diversity. When USPS rates moved, his blended shipping cost per unit increased by about 60 cents. At his volume, that translated to over $2,000 a month in additional shipping expense before he even noticed. He did not have a monthly cost review process. He caught it at the end of the quarter when his margin report looked wrong. By then, he had absorbed nearly $6,000 in unplanned shipping costs. Same external event. One seller had a process, one did not. This is what sellers who survive platform cost changes do differently. They treat every input cost as a living number, not a locked one.
Are you AI ready in your business? AI only multiplies the foundation you've already built. Don't 10x garbage into your business. 10x your profit. Score your gaps in 60 seconds. Find out how ready you are. Visit voltagedm.com/AI quiz and take the free readiness quiz. And now, back to the podcast.
3 moves, executable at any level, starting with the one that matters most right now. Move 1. Audit your actual shipping cost per unit this week. Not the estimate you used when you launched the product, the actual current cost. Pull your last 30 days of shipping invoices, whether through Amazon Buy Shipping, your 3PL, or your carrier account, and calculate what you are actually paying per shipment by SKU. Compare that to what you have in your margin model. If there is a gap, you need to know the exact dollar amount. A seller doing $10,000 a month needs this number as much as a seller doing $500 a month. The only difference is the scale of the damage if you ignore it. Move 2. Identify your 2 or 3 most shipping cost-sensitive SKUs. These are your lighter, lower-priced products where shipping represents a higher percentage of total unit cost. For a seller with 10 SKUs, you probably have 2 or 3 where a rate increase of even 30 to 50 cents per unit meaningfully compresses your margin. Flag those SKUs specifically. Those are the ones that need a price review or a carrier review first. Move 3. Build a carrier comparison into your quarterly business review. USPS is not the only option. UPS, FedEx, and regional carriers all have rate structures that may be more favorable depending on your package profile, weight, dimensions, destination zones. A seller doing $15,000 a month may not have the volume to negotiate custom rates, but they can still compare base rates across carriers using freely available shipping calculators. A seller doing $100,000 a month or more should be having this conversation with their logistics provider right now. Shipping is not a fixed cost. Treat it like the variable it is. Every episode of this show comes back to the same core principle. The sellers who build durable businesses are the ones who manage their numbers with precision, not the ones who build on assumptions and hope the inputs stay stable. Shipping costs shifting is not a crisis if you are watching. It becomes a crisis when you are not. If you are earlier in your journey, maybe you are still evaluating whether Amazon is the right model for you, or you are doing your first few $1,000s a month. What today's episode should tell you is this: build your margin model with variable inputs from day one. Do not lock in a shipping cost and forget it. The operators who scale successfully treat every cost line as something to be reviewed, not assumed. If you are further along, doing $50,000 to $500,000 a month or beyond, you already know that margin management at scale is where real businesses are won or lost. The question is whether you have the systems to catch cost shifts in week 1 instead of quarter 3. This is exactly the kind of operational intelligence we work through with sellers inside Voltage. For over 13 years, we have been building and operating Amazon businesses at every level, not consulting from the sidelines, but actually in the business, managing the numbers, the sourcing, the logistics, the margin models. Our approach is operator-led because that is the only approach that actually works when the inputs start moving. If you want to understand how we help sellers build businesses that hold their margins through cost disruptions like this one, go to voltagedm.com and see what we are working on. The sellers who thrive through change are the ones who stopped guessing and started measuring. This is the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast. Stay sharp. That's a wrap on today's episode. If you're trying to figure out where AI actually fits in your business and where to invest before bolting it on top, head over to voltagedm.com/AI quiz. 5 questions, 60 seconds, a personalized AI readiness score, and an instant foundation gap report. Built for operators, not AI tourists. We'll be back tomorrow with another edge. Until then, stay high voltage.